welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary! I know you guys really liked the music last time, so I figured I'd put it even louder this time. It's great, right? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, you guys obviously didn't like the music last time that much. Overall, I mean, you might have liked it, but overall it was distracting or it took away from the video. And I just want to say thanks for the detailed feedback, guys. Big thank you. I love detailed feedback. It's always great. I've read all of it. Took all of it to heart. And definitely not doing that again. Overall, on the all, it's not desirable. So there we go. Simple enough for that. But I did have fun doing it, so I might try something with music at some point in the future, but not to that extent. I don't know. I've got some ideas. We'll see if that ever pans out. But let's get into this replay, because this is a game from WEL. We're actually going to be doing a best of 3 for WEL. And let's introduce our players. We have PwNu.WaN spawning in as the blue undead down in the lower left. The map is going to be Last Refuge 1.3, and as you can see, both players here trying desperately to cheat. As you can see, they're very used to that, and they're probably very confused right now as to why that's not working. But that doesn't work in certain tournaments. It does in some, if you didn't know. Zotac, for example, you can just cheat all you want. But up in the upper right part of the map, we actually have HLA spawning in as the pink undead. Indeed, this is going to be an undead mirror. So for some people, they're not going to be super happy about this. They're going to say, oh, no, we don't want to do an undead mirror. What are you talking? That's crazy. But that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to go into, and I think it's going to be pretty fun. So let's watch it and see. And these are two very good undeads, both of them having pretty good results lately. I think HLA's had some pretty amazing results considering he just came back. In case you're wondering, yes, this is indeed Hate, Love, Anger. He was an old undead player. He played, Raptor, I'm sorry, Raptor. He played for Raptor. He also played in Rock a long time, and he kind of made that switch to TFT, and like within a couple months was picked up by Raptor. It was kind of crazy. He was pretty good, but he never really did anything like huge back then. And I'm not really sure if he's done anything huge now, but making it to Zotac finals a couple weeks ago was a pretty big deal, and played a really good game versus Hawk. So there you go. Yeah, but both players are playing a standard Fiends build, as you can see. It's nothing out of the ordinary or unusual. I do like the way Juan's building his base. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to pronounce that name. I think it's White and Nerdy, technically, if you expand it out. But as a WAN, I don't know if it's supposed to be WAN or WAN or WAN or whatever. So I'm going to call him WAN or WAN or whatever. We'll see as we go. But yeah, I like this Nubian tower. It's nice because basically, sometimes you'll see skeletons coming in here and to harass your stuff, and you know, it's nice to have that afford a Nubian tower rather than kind of closer to the gold mine. So I do like that. And over here, will we see a Nubian tower from HLA? No, we won't. And if he doesn't get harassed, then that's going to, you know, be a nice 100 gold, 20 wood to save during your stack. You can always get that later. Plus, you don't always even need it if you're not going to get harassed in the early game. If you have a reasonable reason to believe, or a good suspicion to believe that your opponent's not going to be doing that kind of a build. If you're like, oh, he's definitely a Fiends player, and he definitely plays standard Fiends. He doesn't do TED Fiends, he does standard Fiends, blah, 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 on this map, etc. If you can know those sort of things about your opponent, then you can actually get away with not going with a Nubian tower and saving yourself a little bit of extra gold, a little bit of extra wood, and playing a little bit more aggressively and greedy. I don't know if that's actually the case. I have no idea, of course, you know, whether HLA is doing this just on a whim, or maybe HLA just never gets that early Nubian unless he's really expecting, like, to have to get that, you know. But down here you can see he is going to be scouting, and he's going to run right into WAN's army. WAN's going to be forced to pop a coil right off. Now, it's always better to use your first coil, a little bit early in this sort of situation, because that means you can regenerate mana, and that means you've tanked a little bit on your Fiend, and that's okay. But you don't want to ever get behind in coils. And you can say, oh, well, he's one coil behind. He is sort of, because he had to coil from the creeping, but he is regenerating mana, and that's good. Now, he's going to take a fight right now. This is not as good for him. But again, it's not bad yet. It's not to that critical point yet. And as you can see, both players trying to micro. It looks like HLA is actually trying to surround a Fiend with Fiends. You don't see that too often, because these are, you know, of course, ranged units at equal range going off against each other, and they have a nice attack animation, so they can attack easily, volley and move back, volley and move back. They're very good at that. I kind of think of it as a really slow-mo marine stutter step micro. Yeah. Or don't, because it's not really the same thing at all, but, you know, it's kind of hard to surround them with Fiends being surrounded with Fiends. It's not so easy. It's just not. And of course, both players are level 2, as you can see, and WaN actually being slightly ahead in the experience advantage or field or ball game or ball. Yeah, basically WaN slightly ahead, but not by a lot. And we're gonna go ahead and see HLA creeping out this green camp right here, trying to see if he can't hit level 3 as quickly as possible. Now WaN does have an amazing item right here, a potion of greater mana. That is the kind of item you'll want. It's better than the wand of mana stealing. As you can see, this basically steals 100 mana over 2 charges. It's got a cooldown. You can only get 50 mana at one time, whereas this thing is 300 mana when you use. So this is like a full heal on your mana, whereas this is kind of like a level 1 mana burn and 50 mana. It's okay. It's not a bad item. It's 200 gold if you sell it. Generally, you don't sell it if you want the mana, unless you're at tier 2 and you can sell it and buy a mana potion, which is better because you get you get 150 mana for 200 gold, and that's much better than 50 mana 2 times on a CD. But sometimes you want the mana burn effect. But I wouldn't be surprised if we just heard him sell it. No, we didn't. He sold something else. I don't know quite what it was. Anyway, we're going to see HLA. He has managed to pick up level 3 now, and he's coming down here with a Book of the Dead he just grabbed from this creep camp right here, and he's going to come in here, and there's actually a Spirit Tower up as well. WaN not playing around with his base defense this game, saying, I will absolutely not go down to some kind of crazy, nonsensical stuff that you're going to be trying to do to me at tier 2. I know there's a Book of Dead. Oh, and now we're going to maybe see the Counter Fiend Surround. I'm not really sure it's a Counter Fiend Surround, but hey, it is a Fiend Surround coming in from WaN onto HLA's Fiend, and actually HLA going to do the same thing with the Book of the Dead to surround one of the other fiends. Now, this Lich is getting slightly scary position with all these units around him, but it looks like HLA is not really super interested in killing that Lich that way, or not even trying to kill the Lich that way, and that's not necessarily, that's understandable really, because, this Death Knight has a lot of mana on him, and that Lich would just be soaking up coil after coil. Meanwhile, HLA would be in a particularly interesting situation if he were to lose Fiends or whatever, and he does have that Potion of Greater Mana, so technically he could have outlasted the Lich's or the other Death Knight's coils, but again, it's a risky business, and it's not necessarily all that high payoff. So it is high payoff if you kill the Lich, but again, it's going to be a level 1 Lich kill. You're going to get the XP on your Death Knight. I mean, it's okay, but reviving him for 170 gold doesn't take very long at all. I think it's like 30 seconds. It's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. Whereas, if you can actually manage to snap a couple of Crypt Fiend kills, that's really nice. And when the Lich was in that position, I don't know. That's my analysis. I'm just going to move on because I was like, I don't think it would have been a bad idea. I think it was an okay idea. I just don't think it was any more of an okay idea than killing the Fiends. That's all. That's what I think. And yeah, so there we go. I'm moving on now. The Ochre Mauler over here being crept out by Mr. HLA is saying, yes, gonna creep this out. I did manage to pick up the nice item from the other one of these creeps on the other side of the map, right outside of HLA's base. Now let's make sure he doesn't do the same to me by going ahead and taking this creeping myself and just making sure that I get it. He's actually gonna pick up the Orb of Corruption for that Lich. He's gonna back off. I think he's just trying to let this Lich get some experience. Generally, you would like the Lich to get to level 3 if you can, but he's gonna run that Death Knight in here. Maybe he's gonna back off now. I'm not. Yeah, there he is. Back off. Give the Lich the fastest level 3 that you can. Always an ideal situation. WaN over here creeping as well with his Lich and his Death Knight right here, as you can see. So both players are trying to rush to that tier 3. I think this guy might go pick up a Dark Ranger. It's what it looks like, and he doesn't have an orb on his hero yet. There it is. There's the Dark Ranger, but no orb. So he's going to have an interesting situation on his hands. I'm actually going to see Scourge Bone Chimes being picked up by WaN. Now, he might keep that if he decides to go into Abominations or some kind of heavy build like that, but generally, we're not going to see that. Generally, what we've been seeing kind of recently and kind of being increasing in popularity is this double Crypt Fiend build, basically, where you get to tier 3 and you throw down 2 Crypts and you mass Fiends, and it's nice. I mean, we saw that a lot we saw a lot of Undead Mirrors actually this past Zotac, where a lot of the a lot of the really good Asian players were busy in WEL during Zotac, so they couldn't play both, unfortunately, which was a shame for everyone. Really, it would have been nice if we could have those time zones worked out so they're differently. Who knows if we're going to? I hope we do. Because, obviously it sucks when there's like awesome games being played by WFZ and Yumiko while Zotac's going on, because you're like, oh, I want to go see those. But actually, we're going to see a fight going underway. Now, we do see a Silence going immediately off onto this Death Knight while he tries to get a kill on that Crypt Fiend. It's going to get out of there, though, and he will get a Burrow, which is very nice. We're going to see a Death Knight Silence on HLA's Death Knight as well. It's going to go ahead and uproot that into a Destroyer. Go ahead and eat the Silence to go ahead now and do that. Now, we do see 2 Burrowed Fiends. Now, do either player have Dust? The answer is neither one of these players have Dust, which is really odd, because generally, you you probably want to dust when you're doing Fiend Mirror. Trying to kill that statue as well. It's going to be able to live with 4 HP, very close. Up here we can see there's a very nice defensive healing ward placed down by HLA, and that's going to force PwNu.WaN to back off. Also, we're going to see this Death Knight now taking a little bit of control. As you can see, he's taking a lot of focus fire, and he's trying to not die. He might even be forced to TP, depending on how close this Lich gets and how poorly he is microed and blocked by his own units here. As you can see, he's a pretty fast unit, and we can just see WaN trying to block now with those Fiends. Looks like that Death Knight's going to get away without having to go ahead and waste, or resort, I should say, to a teleport scroll, which is pretty good for him. HLA's Lich, however, is level 3 at this point, and that's not good for WaN because he's not level 3, and that is a very low HP Death Knight. These are not the situations that you want in Undead Mirror. Generally, this means you're falling behind, and if you have a very low life Death Knight where you have to play a little bit backwards, a little bit more defensive, and you're behind in levels, that is really not what you want. Also, we can see that the tech here is working out a little bit better for HLA as well, bringing that Abomination in already, and that's nice. We might even see this Death Knight getting focused again, perhaps. We're going to see a very nice silence. So once again on HLA's Death Knight, going for the WaN Lich right here. Will that go down? Oh, a very nice silence on the Death Knight. Going to go ahead and get the TP, but that is not going to come in time as that Lich goes down. GG is said, or stated. Is that a crypt? Yeah, there's the double crypt. See, it would have been a double crypt build with the Fiends, like I called. I did call it, technically speaking, right? I don't know why. Okay, I was like, we're still going. It looks like it's done, but we're still going. Yeah. So that's game 1 from this WEL best of 3. And if you'd like to watch game 2, you do know the drill. I'm not always good about getting the annotations up. I try. I'm just forgetful. So if you don't see them, feel free to like send me a PM on YouTube. Be like, hey, where's the annotations? But if you don't, you could also just go to the uploaded videos list, or go to the Warcast, or youtube.com/show/the Warcast, which is where all of these videos are organized nicely into seasons and such, and playlists. There's actually only 2 seasons. It's not the best organization, but hey, there it is. And if you want to check them out, you can check them out that way. But the next one will be up, and you'll be able to probably, most likely, click an annotation right here, and that'll get you there to the next game. So hopefully we'll see you in game 2, and thanks for watching, guys. So, bye. Bye. Saying bye at the end of these just sounds weird to me. I don't know. It seems like, because it's not really bye. We're going into the next game, so we'll see you there.